They fined me for revving my engine, but I was filming a scene for a major movie. Kill the damn engine. The voice hit me like a shotgun blast. Sharp. Entitled. Unmistakably HOA. I cut the throttle just in time to see him storming across the lawn, white New Balances pounding freshly cut grass, his tucked-in polo rippling like he'd just stepped off a yacht and into a war zone. "This isn't Fast and Furious 12, jackass," he shouted, jabbing a finger toward my car like it had personally insulted his family. "People live here." I stepped out of the Chevelle, the heat from the engine rising around me like smoke from a battlefield. "We've got a city permit. You got a problem. Take it up with." "I am the problem, genius. You woke up my wife, my dog, and half this damn block, revving that piece of prehistoric junk like it's goddamn Daytona." Behind me, the crew froze. One guy is still holding a boom mic in the air like it might protect him from a lawsuit. The guy, later I'd learn his name was Gary Haswell, HOA president for Edgewood Heights and unofficial king of the cul-de-sac, stood inches from me now, late 50s, pink in the face, a gold chain glinting in the morning sun. "You think your little camcorder circus gives you the right to shit on my front yard with noise pollution? You're done." I raised my hands, calm but not backing down. "Sir, we're filming one shot." "One. The city approved it. The block was notified. You received the letter." He sneered. I wiped my ass with that letter. And that's when the camera guy, bless him, hit record. Because this wasn't just a pissed-off neighbor. This was content. "What the hell are you even filming anyway?" he barked. "Porn." My jaw tightened. "A feature. The lead's a veteran trying to start over. This scene is his breaking point. It's a metaphor." "Oh, a metaphor," he scoffed. "That why you're making it sound like a goddamn drag race outside my kitchen window?" A woman peeked out from a neighboring house, curtains fluttering. Then another. The neighborhood was waking up, and every face was watching us like a street-side circus act. Gary leaned in close. Too close. "I know your type. You think your little artistic bullshit means you can ignore real rules. But this street has standards. We don't give a damn about your dreams here. We care about peace, order, and not having our dogs shit themselves because some wannabe Scorsese can't control his throttle." I took a breath. This wasn't the place for a brawl. But damn if I wasn't shaking with restraint. "Sir," I said, voice steady, "you've made your position clear. We're going to continue. We're within our rights. If you feel otherwise, call the city." "Oh, I'm doing better than that." He reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. "This footage," he said, waving toward the car. "This crap you call a movie? It's about to go viral, all right, on Nextdoor." And just like that, he walked away, tapping furiously on his phone, probably writing something like "street turned into drag strip." HOA taking action. Neighborhood under siege. My cinematographer whispered, "That guy's unhinged." I turned to the camera. "Roll everything from now on. Every frame." And just like that, I knew the opening shot wasn't just a revving engine. It was a declaration of war. Absolutely. This section will keep the pressure dialed all the way up. We're diving into section 2. Building tension, 1,200 words, split into early conflicts, escalating pressure, and pattern recognition, but seamlessly told like a fast-moving cinematic beat. Let's keep the heat. "Let me guess," I muttered as the envelope hit my windshield the next morning. Certified HOA bullshit. The fine was laughable. Unauthorized commercial activity. Noise disruption. Inappropriate use of a residential zone. I flipped it over. No signature. Just a smug little HOA seal and a date stamped in red ink like it was a death notice. Crew call was 7 a.m. By 7:15, we had Gary back in the warpath lane, arms crossed, legs wide, the pose of a man who'd watched too many cop dramas and decided he was the law. "You can't shoot here without a parking permit," he barked, even though the city's green stamp dock was taped to the windshield. "We have a parking permit," I said, not even turning away from the camera placement. "It's right there." "Then you're violating the noise ordinance." "It's 7:15. The city allows filming noise starting at 7. He stepped closer, his voice dropping. "I don't care what the city says. This street answers to me." That was the moment I realized something. Gary didn't want peace. He wanted submission. The film wasn't a nuisance, it was a threat. to his control, his illusion of power, and he wasn't going to back down until he'd buried us in red tape and neighborhood outrage. I smiled. You should probably start filming this, too, I said to my DP, because this HOA president just declared war on the First Amendment. Gary's nostrils flared like a cartoon villain. By day 3, he'd weaponized the entire block. 3 garbage bins mysteriously appeared in our shot. Lights unplugged. Someone threw a raw egg at the Chevelle and missed, splattering across our dolly rig instead. Every time we reset the shot, someone across the street would fire up a leaf blower at exactly the moment we called action. And I swear to God, they were doing it in shifts. My assistant director approached, holding another envelope. This one's about misuse of curb space. He's filing one a day. Let him, I said. That's his pattern now. Let him get cocky. I started collecting every notice, taking photos, filing dates. My lawyer, I'd finally looped her in, told me, start documenting everything. If this escalates, we can flip the whole thing. Flip it? I wanted to feature it. Meanwhile, the neighborhood chatter grew louder. Half the residents just watched us like we were the new neighborhood soap opera. The other half? They'd started whispering in my direction. One older guy, Mr. Renner, 2 houses down, slipped me a folded note when no one was looking. It said, he's been doing this for years. Don't let him win. That was the first spark of a shift. Proof that not everyone drank the HOA Kool-Aid. Still, Gary was circling like a shark that smelled weakness. He started citing code numbers in conversation, like some twisted baseball card collector. You violate code 17.3C, he told me one morning. I raised my eyebrows. Is that the one about filming while breathing in public? His lips twitched. But that day, the city official arrived. You got a what? The city rep, Janet, mid-40s, exhausted, looked as done as I felt. A neighborhood complaint. Several. I handed her a folder. Here are 23 notices we've received from Gary Haswell and the HOA over the last 3 days. All unsubstantiated. All filed outside city protocol. And here, I pulled out my phone, is a video of him saying this street answers to me. Her eyes narrowed. You filmed him. We're filmmakers, I said. We film everything. She flipped through the printouts. You comply. The permits are in order. He doesn't have jurisdiction. But he's persistent. He's a disease, I said. And I'm collecting symptoms. That night, I started recording everything. Not just the film scenes, everything. Conversations. Yelled threats. Passive-aggressive comments from neighbors. The doorbell cam. A gold mine. Gary was pacing up and down the block, whispering into his phone, pointing at my house like he was calling in an airstrike. I stopped playing defense. We started setting up earlier. I filed my report with the city. I cross-checked the HOA bylaws. Turns out, Gary was exceeding his authority by issuing fines for things outside the HOA's purview. Like filming. Like parking. Like existing while not being Gary. And here's the kicker. Gary didn't know I'd already looped in someone big. See, the Chevelle. Not just a prop. It was on loan from the studio. The real studio backing our project. They'd sent a lawyer just in case things got ugly. And now, with Gary spiraling and the city starting to ask him questions, I had exactly what I needed. A villain, a camera, and a story with teeth. Time to raise the stakes even more. We're going into Section 3. Mounting pressure, 1,200 words, with the same relentless, cinematic, confrontation-heavy energy. You'll feel this one like it's a third-act build-up in a courtroom drama shot with a handheld camera in the middle of a war zone. Let's ride. It started with a clipboard and a smirk. 2 days after the city gave us the all-clear, a man in khakis and aviators showed up, pretending to inspect tree damage. He didn't even try to hide the HOA badge clipped to his belt. Name's Doug, he said, like we were about to be friends. I've been authorized by the board to perform a compliance check. For what? I asked, voice flat. Environmental disruption. Debris on the sidewalk. Possibly unpermitted structures. He pointed to our light rig. That? Are you kidding me? That's not even touching the ground. It's floating on C-stands. He smiled like a guy who'd already made up his mind. We'll be in touch. The next day, another fine. This time for public obstruction. The day after that, unauthorized signage, a literal strip of blue tape on the sidewalk marking the actor's position. Gary was playing chess with code violations, and I was watching him move pawns with glee. But the real kicker? He reported us to the fire department. I stood there as two firefighters, clearly irritated, inspected our crew van like we were smuggling fireworks and flamethrowers. You guys know this is insane, right? I asked. One of them shrugged. Got an anonymous complaint. Gotta check it out. Oh, come on. Anonymous. He's standing 20 feet away, filming us on his phone like a weirdo. Gary waved from his lawn chair. Safety first. I started filing counterclaims. Every inspection, every citation, every time they tried to trip us up with random checks, I had documentation waiting. Timestamped, recorded, witnessed. But I stayed calm. Because when you're winning a war, you don't throw punches. You build a case. The neighborhood wasn't silent anymore. It was a cold war of glances and whispers, of garbage cans knocked over accidentally and welcome mats flipped upside down like some weird suburban protest. Some neighbors turned openly hostile, shouting about noise pollution and Hollywood types ruining peace. Others started walking their dogs right through our set, slow and deliberate, like we were intruding on their movie. But not everyone turned. Mrs. Renner started leaving out bottled water for the crew. I used to be an extra in the 70s, she whispered once, slipping me a wink. Don't let the bastards win. A teenager named Jordan came by every afternoon just to watch the shoot. One day, he handed me a flash drive. Caught something weird on my ring cam. It was Gary. Middle of the night. We poured what looked like motor oil near our generator. I almost laughed. We hadn't even used the generator that night. It was performative sabotage, meant to be discovered, meant to scare. But it just proved he was unraveling. The HOA board started to splinter. I overheard an argument between Gary and one of his members. You're going too far, the guy snapped. This was about noise, not warfare. Gary's face turned stone cold. This is about order. Translation, control. At the next shoot, he stood across the street, arms crossed, eyes like daggers. I held my phone up, pointed at him, and smiled. Say hi to the internet. He didn't flinch. But the twitch in his jaw, that was fear. He knew something was coming. It all came crashing down on a Sunday. We were mid-shoot, golden hour, perfect light. The scene. Our lead is breaking down, finally confronting his demons. It was quiet, intimate, emotional. Then came the screech of brakes. 2 patrol cars. Lights flashing. No sirens. 4 officers stepped out. Leo Simmons? One asked, already holding a citation pad like it was Excalibur. I stepped forward. Yeah, you're being cited for unlawful assembly, noise violations, and obstruction of emergency access. I blinked. Emergency access. We're not even blocking the street. Ma'am across the way reported a medical emergency. The ambulance couldn't get through. I turned and saw her. Mrs. Landers, the one with 6 cats and 0 soul, was watching from her porch. No emergency in sight. Behind the cops, Gary stood smiling, arms folded like a conquering general. That was the moment, the breaking point. But I didn't shout. I didn't flinch. I pulled out a USB stick and handed it to the officer. Dashcam footage from our crew van. It shows the entire block. No ambulance. No traffic obstruction. And the timestamp proves it. The officer hesitated. And here, I open my phone, is a document signed by the city confirming our shoot is authorized through next week. And if you want to escalate this, I have 2 lawyers on standby and a call I'm happy to place to Channel 5. He looked at Gary. Gary looked back, suddenly not so smug. Then the cherry on top. I turned to my actor and said loudly, that's a wrap on scene 37. Hope the HOA enjoyed the performance. The crew cheered. The neighbors stared. Gary? He stormed inside. Because deep down he knew. That was the last time he'd win. Hell yes, we're hitting with full cinematic ferocity. The heat's been building for scenes. Now it's time to detonate the powder keg in front of the entire community. This is your courtroom scene meets mic drop moment. Let's hit it. The neighborhood barbecue was supposed to be a community healing event. That's what the email said, sent by the HOA secretary, not Gary. Funny how the tone changed after the cops left empty-handed last week. Smelled like damage control. I showed up late. Not fashionably late. Dramatically late. Chevelle parked 2 blocks down, so it wouldn't disturb the peace. My crew dressed casually, blending in, sipping lemonade, pretending this was a normal Sunday. Gary spotted me the moment I stepped into the cul-de-sac. His eyes narrowed. "What the hell are you doing here?" I raised a brow. "Community member. Thought this was an open invite." His lip curled. "You're trying to make a scene." "Buddy," I said, patting him on the shoulder. "If I wanted to make a scene, you'd know." "Scratch that. You will know." He didn't reply. Just turned and marched toward the grill, like flipping hot dogs was more important than the nuke I was about to drop. Janet from the city was there. So was the local news anchor from Channel 5. I'd invited them both. Said it was a story about neighborhood unity. I wasn't lying. By 3:45 p.m., the lawn chairs were full, and the mood was just awkward enough. Time to hit play. I stepped up on the flatbed trailer being used for karaoke, grabbed the mic, and tapped it. "Hi, everyone. I won't take long." Heads turned. Gary froze, spatula midair. "I just want to share something we've been working on. A little preview from the project we've been filming right here on your street." People clapped. Polite, curious. Gary's face drained of color. I nodded to my DP. The screen flickered to life. It started with B-roll, slow shots of the Chevelle, sweeping pans of Edgewood Heights, soft ambient music. Then the narration kicked in. My voice. Edgewood Heights. A perfect neighborhood. Quiet, peaceful, unless you threaten the throne. Cut to Gary screaming at me about Fast and Furious. Laughter. Audible cutting. A few gasps. Then came the montage. Gary is throwing trash onto our set. Gary is shouting at city officials. Gary hurling slurs, uncensored. We didn't need to paint him as a villain. He handed us the brush. Each clip had timestamps. Each matched with a formal citation we'd received. Notice how every incident follows a pattern. Notice who initiates. Notice who escalates. I could hear murmurs. People are shifting in their seats. Gary is trying to laugh it off. "This is illegal," he muttered, just loud enough. But then came the mic drop. Cut to footage of Gary late at night. Jordan's ring cam. Him pouring oil on the sidewalk. His voice on the phone. "If they slip, it's not my fault. That's what insurance is for." A collective inhale. Cut to the firefighters inspecting us. Pointless, performative. This isn't just one angry neighbor. This is systemic harassment, covered in neighborhood charm and folded HOA newsletters. I let the final clip roll. Gary calling the fire marshal, lying about hazardous flammable equipment. The call recorded legally. State law backed me. The screen went black. I stepped back up. Calm. Composed. "For the record, we've submitted everything you just saw to the city attorney's office, the mayor's media team, and the Civil Liberties Watchdog Group. Oh, and it's going live on YouTube tonight." The crowd? Silent. Gary? Shaking. Someone clapped. Then a second. Then a wave. And that's when the power flipped. He tried to speak. Gary stumbled up the trailer, snatching for the mic like it owed him money. "This is slander." He barked. "You manipulated footage. This is edited trash." I stepped aside. "All time-stamped. All raw. Want me to stream the full files?" He paused. Blinked. For the first time since we met, I saw a doubt. Fear. He realized the dam had burst, and he didn't know how to swim. "I've been protecting this neighborhood for years." He shouted. "You people come in with your Hollywood egos and ruin everything." That's when it hit him. The silence wasn't supportive. It was rejection. "Sit down, Gary," someone muttered. He turned, jaw slack. Mrs. Landers, the cat lady who reported us, stood with crossed arms. "I knew you were a pain, but I didn't know you were dangerous." Another neighbor chimed in. "You egged his set, man." "What the hell?" "You poisoned my dog's water bowl last year," someone else muttered. Gary spun wide-eyed. "Lies." But the cracks were showing. Fast. Janet from the city walked up. "Mr. Haswell, as of this moment, we're suspending your HOA administrative authority pending review." Gasps. "That's not your call." He shouted. She held up a letter. "It is." and you'll be receiving a formal investigation notice within 48 hours. Enjoy your lemonade." I stepped off the trailer and walked past him. He didn't follow. He just stood there, clutching a paper plate, and watching the neighborhood he'd ruled like a petty tyrant start to laugh without him. We left early. I had an upload schedule to hit. You got it. We're closing this saga out with the fire it deserves. This is Section 5, Resolution and Impact, 1,500 words. The stand-up, cheer, and replay that last line 3 times finale. Gary's empire is ashes. Now it's time for fallout justice, and one hell of a send-off. 2 days later, the HOA board held an emergency session. Gary wasn't there. He sent a letter, a pathetic, lawyer-drenched attempt at self-preservation, claiming manipulative editing, targeted persecution, and, get this, emotional distress. I heard he even tried to request disability leave from HOA duties. Too bad nobody gives a damn when your throne's built on fake fines and midnight sabotage. The board voted 6-1. Gary Haswell, permanently removed as HOA president. The one vote in his favor? His own. He sent it in by email like it was going to tip the scales. City citations against him followed. The fire marshal filed a complaint for false emergency reports. The Department of Neighborhood Affairs investigated the HOA's conduct during his reign. And yes, our footage was Exhibit A. By the following week, 3 other HOA members had resigned quietly, and the secretary publicly apologized on the neighborhood forum. I screenshotted it naturally. Even better, the studio's legal team, who'd been silent till now, sent their letter. Ceased to Gary for defamation. A lawsuit was pending if he continued his crusade. Turns out messing with a production backed by actual money isn't smart. Meanwhile, the city issued us a letter of commendation. No, seriously. We'd raised awareness around abuse of local HOA structures and documented clear examples of intimidation and improper conduct. It read like a press release with moral fiber. And then there was the cherry on top, the video. It exploded. Not just a couple thousand views. Over 2.3 million in the first 5 days. They tried to shut down our movie. We made them famous instead. Comments poured in. I pinned that one. We leaned into it. Rebranded the whole experience. Launched a behind-the-scenes doc. Merch dropped. Shirts that said I survived Gary's HOA and permit this. Sales. Let's just say my rent for the next 6 months was handled. But it wasn't just profit, it was personal. People started reaching out. Other creators. Filmmakers. Even a few small-time directors who'd been bullied out of locations before. One guy told me he shelved a short film after an HOA threatened to fine him $1,000 a day. Said watching my video made him pull it out again. And then Jordan. Remember the teenager with the ring cam? We brought him on as an assistant on our next shoot. Paid. Credit. Experience. Because heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they have motion-detected doorbells and an eye for timing. As for the neighborhood, it started healing. Slowly, awkwardly, but surely. Neighbors who hadn't spoken in years started chatting again. Mrs. Renner hosted a movie night and screened our film. I nearly choked when I saw she'd baked cookies shaped like little Chevelles. Gary's house? Still standing, but the blinds stay shut. No more jogs in the morning. Just silence. Poetic. The best part? This story changed things. Not just for me, but for every indie creator who's ever been steamrolled by fake authority, scared off by bluster, or told to go make your little movie somewhere else. We showed what happens when you stand your ground, arm yourself with the truth, and roll tape anyway. Studios started calling. Not huge ones, but legit. One exec asked, "So when's episode 2? I laughed, but inside, yeah, the gears were turning. Because now I wasn't just a guy with a camera and a dream. I was the filmmaker who made the HOA backpedal. The director who turned sabotage into spectacle. The guy who got views, not just sympathy. I took everything Gary tried to destroy and built a platform on it. A brand. A community. My YouTube channel gained 200,000 subscribers in 3 weeks. We passed 1 million within the year. The comment section became a support group for creators dealing with neighborhood Karens, rogue landlords, and corrupt bosses. People shared their battles, and others replied with advice, strategies, and even legal resources. It was more than viral. It was cultural. And me, I grew the hell up through all of it. I learned how to be calm under pressure, how to play the long game, how to shut down bullies without screaming, how to weaponize truth. And somewhere in that wildfire of views, shares, and support, I realized something. This wasn't just a story about a guy getting fined for revving an engine. It was about control, power, and resistance, and how you never, ever hand over your voice to someone just because they wear a badge, official or imagined. That's why we tell stories. To fight back. To be heard. To make sure the next time some small-time tyrant tries to silence someone, they think twice. Because they might just end up in the sequel.